Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. I think it's Thursday, right, Tim?
Almost Friday.
Almost Friday. Welcome to What's the Deal featuring Pat and Tim, episode 7. We're going to talk about reporting.
Woo! Reports.
Not a super sexy subject, but we're going to make it fun for everyone. Today's April 30th, last day of the month. Hopefully everyone's pushing hard.
Get after it.
Get after it, as Tim said. My name is Pat McMullen. If you need me, there's my contact info. Please reach out. Many of you have, and I really appreciate it. I love the conversation that we're having. And my esteemed colleague, Timothy.
Yeah.
Tim, you want to talk about your Facebook page? You've been doing some good stuff.
I got a good podcast I'm going to be posting after the show here from the CEO from Car. He's a Odessa guy, some really cool stuff. Yeah, but if you want to join, it's a closed group. You got to have an invitation, but really good stuff. And there's my email. All right, so what are we going to talk about today?
Reports. Let's dive into the system.
How about a poll question?
You want to kick it off with a poll question?
Poll question, right? I mean, this is what, 3 weeks in a row now, poll question?
Yeah, I'm kind of scared when I let you do the poll questions on your own.
All right, poll question. Here we go. Let's see. Tell me if you can see it.
We can see it.
Today's poll question. The best Adam Sandler movie of all time is? Now, these are all pretty good movies. I mean, he's made a ton of movies. Oh, wow. Looks like we might have a unanimous decision. No. Okay. Oof, I was getting a little nervous there. Almost.
Oh,
see, I think The Wedding Singer is classic. That movie, I guess it's probably the music in that movie that really gets me.
Highly underrated.
All right,
I'm a Big Daddy too. I like them all. I can sit down and watch any of those right now.
My kid loves that movie. All right,
let's
closing
show
it. 3, 2, 1. Closing the poll. Okay. Let me share the results.
Happy Gilmore,
taking it away.
You can't argue with the classic, you know.
Right? What is that? Where it's like the line with Bob Barker. Freaking so funny, dude. Okay. All right, we're done there.
Shooter McGavin. Well, we wanted to do a fun poll question today because, reports, they're not all that fun. But we're going to try to make it fun for everyone. So we're going to run through, there's a lot of different places inside of the system that you can get reporting from. So we're going to show you where those sections are. And then we're not going to go through all the reports. We could talk for 3 hours on this, but we're going to show you a couple of our favorites. And then when you have time, maybe tomorrow or next week, dive into some of them and let's look at them. So Tim and I discussed where we want to start, and we're big believers in reviewing the game film. Tim and I are both big football fans, as you guys know from last Thursday's episode. So you got to see, to make improvements, you got to see where maybe you struggled. So Tim, let's go ahead and dive into where they can review the game film.
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to access the new and improved Max reports. My favorite way is right down here at the bottom. Okay, it opens it up in a nice new tab for you. You can work on it on your own. It doesn't get hidden behind another window. And just a couple of the features of Max reports. That's what I want to make sure we cover. All right, so you got to make sure if you have access to multiple dealerships, if you're in a group of a couple of stores or more, you just got to make sure you type in the name of the location you want to access. It's pretty intuitive. It'll pick up the name of the store after you type a couple characters and you go there. Underneath the reports, the header here, in this ribbon are the sections of all of Max reports. So we have inventory reports, repricing, sales, redistribution, appraisals, and we even have a recall report in here. Okay. If you remember the old performance management reports, they were kind of boxes and columns. We just created these tabs in this ribbon. All right. One of my, like Patrick was saying, one of my favorite reports, to kind of go over the tail of the tape, and it's usually where I start if a GM or a dealer asks me, hey, how are we doing? It's the retail inventory sales analysis. All right. So why don't you give the folks at home, PMAC, a little overview of the RISA?
Yeah. So what this is looking at is you can slice and dice this data up of multiple different ways. You can look at the last 4 weeks to last month to, the previous year. As Tim's shown you right there, there's a bunch of different ways to go through this data. But basically the crux of this report is looking at, we've talked a lot about sweet spot sales, retail sales efficiency, aged and immediate wholesale. So this is kind of the, like Tim said, the tail of the tape or the game film on how have we done in the past. So you can see here, this particular store, first 30 days, what does that say, Tim? My eyes are going bad.
68%.
68%. What's the top performing benchmark?
Mine's 60, we shoot for 65.
Shoot for 65. So we're pretty good there.
My man Scott lighting it up there in Greenville.
And this is over the last 13 weeks, but 13 weeks ago, the world was in a different spot. So let's move to the last 4 weeks when.
Oh, I hope Scott's not on today.
Still not bad.
Not bad.
But we went from 68 to 51, right?
Yeah.
Our second bite of the apple, after that car turns 31 days old, are we getting it gone by day 60? That second bite of the apple, 21%. So, all in, we're still selling a good amount of our inventory in the first 60 days. Aged
wholesale.
Yeah, 19% is after day 60. And then wholesale. Remember, immediate wholesale is, stuff that we never intended on retailing. We just kind of, threw it to the auction and got rid of it. Aged wholesale, it's a polite way of saying a retail failure. We probably put some recon dollars into it. We put it on the lot. We tried to sell it and we didn't. So now we send it to the auction, or in this case, maybe we wholesale it to another store. But I think there's two areas here that are super important. One is average days to sale.
Yep.
So right there, what this is telling the store is if you don't sell this car within the first 9 days, on average, that car will sit there until day 45. So I think those are really strong metrics to look at because, we look at, a lot of people have pricing strategies where we might look in the first 14 days, or we might look in the after the car turns 30 days old. But for this store, I might suggest to them, after you initially price it, let's set that first bucket to 7 days. Let's relook at it 7 days later. If we haven't sold it, there's a good possibility that it's going to fall into that second bucket. So the whole
No, that's a great point you make, because especially in today's environment, I didn't want to cut you off too much there, but you had said the first 30. I think the first 30 now needs to be, at least for now, the first 25. You've seen that online. So, waiting until day 45, I mean, that's 45 days ago was a whole different world.
Yeah. And then you can look at the grosses too. So obviously we've preached this, usually you make all your gross in the first 30 days. But Tim, if you go back out to 13 weeks, let's see how much that changed. So, we're about $200 off from where we were 13, on average 13 weeks ago.
Yep.
So another good message here too is we talked about when we were looking at pricing, if we're shooting on average for $2,500 or $3,000 front end gross profit on every car, use your sales data on that particular car and really figure out, what is my likelihood of gross profit on this car, and get it gone. Make money while you can, because if we're trying to make big, huge grosses right now, obviously we all know that's kind of a pipe dream. Anything else here?
Another nice feature of this report. So this, the way we pulled it up here for the last 13 weeks, you can toggle. A lot of guys like to separate out, my purchases versus my trades. We often see, the failure rate on purchases is a lot lower. And look, let's see. Yeah, the gross is certainly a little bit further down. Turn seems to be about the same, but you can kind of slice and dice it between the two. And then up at the top here, you can download every single one of these reports into an Excel spreadsheet. So if you're one of those guys who likes to just, go at it, sort it 6 ways from Sunday, have at it. Okay. So
another thing on this report, Tim, if you're an old school client, you probably remember the RIPAs, the retail inventory performance analysis that we used to print out and bind up and discuss with you guys. This is basically the same thing. It's just doesn't have the pretty graphics, but you can get the same data out of it. So if you're missing the RIPA, this is your ripping inside the box.
Hey, so we launched this report just recently. You want to touch quickly on the vehicle value loss overview for the guys?
Yeah, so we've been talking to clients about what does 10% look like, 20% look like in losses when the markets reopen. So we just made a report for you to do that. So we're looking at average MMR, the wholesale average, and then what does 10%, 15, 20, and 25% look like with those numbers that they're at right now. This is obviously, we don't have a crystal ball, but this is, worst case scenario, so you can plan accordingly. So we just want to make sure you guys know that that's there.
Yeah, I mean, early indications are we're looking at between a 8 to 12% drop in retail prices over the next 45 to 60 days. So this could be something you want to look at, get an idea. Water reports are at an all-time high as far as requests. I'm getting a lot of people asking me about how do I see my water. That's right here, guys. And the books are customizable. So if you got Black Book in there and you'd rather see NADA, just hit up the help desk, or Patrick and I, we can get those things situated for you. All right, so that's Max reports, right? So there are other reports inside the system that we kind of like to coach guys towards, right?
Yes,
one of your favorites, it's down here in the bottom right, it's the inventory overview. All right, why don't you, let's see if we can get it a little bit bigger. I think that's okay. Why don't you tell the guys and gals on the program today how they can best utilize this?
Sure. So we take all your inventory and we separate it out by segment. And then inside each one of those segments, we will then show you, the cars that you currently have in inventory. So what we just looked at was, the game film. What have we done in the past? This is what do we have on the ground now, and what can we do to maybe, identify slow movers or identify, problem cars. So if we look at this Honda Accord here, you can see we'll give you some market insights. So the average inventory age, day supply, and if you go over to the right, it's a green light vehicle. But inside of this, you have 2 red lights, and that's probably because of the age of the vehicle and or the mileage. You can see the red light cars have high mileage. So red doesn't mean bad. Red just means stop, think about what you got going on, whether it's a trade or something that's been on the lot for a couple days, and figure out, do I want to wholesale this, or is this a retail piece? I'm in the mindset of try to retail everything you can, retail first mentality, right? Until you can't. So but the red light is just to kind of slow you down, to make you think a little bit harder on these vehicles. It also shows you the retail average gross profit of Accords over the last 26 weeks, how many we sold, average days to sale 14, and no sales. I get a lot of questions, Tim, probably you do as well. What does no sale mean? That's an aged wholesale piece. That's something that we attempted to retail and we didn't. So, another polite way of saying retail failure. But on this report, what's striking is, and let's just assume we're not dealing with a pandemic here. Business is normal. The way I'd use this report when business is normal, and I learned this from a great guy that works for Hendrick now, David Nelson. He actually hired me into the company. He used to preach this to our clients. If on average you sell this car in 14 days, and you come over here and you look at the age buckets, those top 3 right there, you got one that's
47.
Yeah, but then 47, 35, 17. So if I was going to walk my lot, those would be, if I'm walking my Honda Accords, those would be the first 3 Honda Accords that I would walk, because they're not turning as fast as what my average is. So there's got to be a reason why behind that. I'm gonna give you all the data that you need here to make informed decisions: the mileage, the internet price, the cost, the book to cost, whether it was a purchase or a trade. And your Profit Max price, or your Profit Max pricing tool is right there. You just click on that little bullseye to dive in. You can open it up and you can look at it there. So just another way of looking at the data, and using the sales history and what you've done in the past to help you make better decisions, with the inventory that's on your lot.
The last report we were going to cover today, we've covered it a bunch in some previous episodes, but I mean, I can't talk enough about the loan value, book value calculator down here at the bottom, for a number of different reasons. The reason it was designed was to help the used car manager identify inventory based off of a bank call. You've got a customer who came in thinking they could afford the, they had dreams of the BMW, but they probably need to be in a Cobalt. So, you can run the inventory based off of, I know a popular call would be, 120% of maybe, NADA clean trade. You run the report, okay, and we'll give you that 120. We'll give you the NADA value. We'll give you the 120, and then we'll show you, what is your, 120 less your cost. Now, if there's no unit cost in there, be prepared, right? You're gonna see a big number, but here are your cars with the most room to help carry some of that negative equity. I sense we might be seeing some negative equity here in the coming weeks, so this is gonna be a tool for that.
Yeah, and all those columns are sortable. So
Oh yeah, sure, sir.
You could sort by whichever column you'd like. So if you're trying to bury some negative equity, or you're trying to find, put the person on the right car that makes sense for them, or you're trying to, your aged units. So Tim, if you sort by age.
Sorry. Yeah. Boom. Yeah.
Go. So your oldest units right here, there's some good margin in these cars right here at 120% call.
Yep.
So maybe you're pushing your sales folks to unload those because they're getting a little long in the tooth on the lot.
Yeah, good call. All right, so that's kind of a just a highlight of Max reports, some other reports.
One thing, Tim. The reports tab at the top.
Yeah.
Just hover over that. So there's a ton of reports in here too. We kind of we looked at the inventory overview that Tim got to at the bottom of the right hand corner. But if you don't get up to there too often, go look through some of those, because there's some powerful stuff in there.
Yeah, inventory overview, most profitable, stocking. We'll cover stocking here coming up soon. I think when it comes time to getting out there and stocking cars again. I don't know if we want to, but yeah, some really good stuff. We could we could be here for hours.
Yeah, and then also videos and FAQ. If you can hover over that, don't click into it. But that's, if you have questions about anything that we have in our system, open that up, type in what you're interested in, and we have a plethora of videos that our good folks back at corporate have put together. You might hear my voice, you might hear Tim's voice, you might hear some of our colleagues' voices, but they're quick little YouTube videos. So if you have a question about appraising, pricing, stocking, any of those reports, we'll give you a quick down and dirty lesson in it. And then our videos, if you're new to this webinar series, or you missed one in the past, all our previous episodes are in there too. So if you wanted to look at something from the past, that's where you'd go. So Tim, anything to add to the good folks?
Nope. Go close out your month.
Yeah.
We'll get back at it. Hey, next week on Tuesday, who do we have?
We have another special guest.
Special guest. I am so excited that she will be joining us on Tuesday. I'm not going to say who it is. You'll have to follow along. But it'll be good. It's Cinco de Mayo too, isn't it?
It is. And how, we always do Taco Tuesday in our house. And
okay, sounds perfect.
Can't even leave my house though to go celebrate a margarita.
All right.
You're gonna have to make them from scratch.
You don't make tacos at your house? My wife makes tacos every week.
No, we make
All right.
them.
Yeah. Have a good weekend, everybody. Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good month.